Okay, this is page 57. You'll notice that it says at the top, what does it mean to solve a quadratic? You've already done solving quadratics by graphing. If you're solving a quadratic, it means you're finding the number or numbers for x that make the quadratic true. You're finding where it's crossing the x-axis. So notice right here, when you solve a quadratic, you are finding your x-intercepts. Now, what other words did we learn for this? Solution. I'm going to say or, roots, zeros, solutions, right? So when you're solving a quadratic, you're looking at where the graph is crossing the x-axis. That's what solving it means. So if you are told on the EOC, I need you to solve this quadratic, just graph it and look at where it's crossing the x-axis, right? Now, sometimes it may say, I need you to solve it by a certain method, by factoring. In that case, you're going to have to actually know how to factor it. But you could use the graphing technique as a safety net of, I know the answer, now I just have to figure out how to get it in the factored form. Coming over here, your x-intercepts are always when y is what? 0. So, like, these are your solutions. I don't know if you want to just make them really big or if you have a highlighter. If you want to highlight them, it's up to you. Those are your solutions. Now, we talked about this on the last paper. We said the location of the quadratic determines how many solutions you can have. You could have none, 1, or 2. When is it that you have none? Now remember, it's where it's crossing the x-axis. So where could it be if you have none? It's the wind.
The wind.
It could be up above it, going what direction? If it cannot cross the x-axis, it could be up above it going up, or, I'm going to write or, like, or, not on the same graph, but we don't have any other room. It could be down below, opening down, right? So in that case, Ty, please write this down. In that case, there's no solutions because it's clearly not crossing the x-axis. All right? Or it could have 1, which means it's what? It's actually sitting on the x-axis. Or it can have 2, which is what we're used to, where it's either above or below, and it's actually crossing the x-axis, right? Now, zero product property. Look at this real quick. If x times y equals 0, what can you tell me about x or y? We'll say it again. If x times y gives me 0, then what do you inherently know because of your number sense about x or y?
One of them has to be 0.
One of them has to be 0. That is called the zero product property. If you ever have the product, meaning two things have been multiplied, it can be ugly, but if they're multiplied and it comes out to 0, then one or the other, or both, has to be 0. Okay? So then x equals 0, or y equals 0, or they both equal 0. Right? It could be both. We don't know. Now, what if it was specifically 3x equals 0? Then what would x have to be? Then x would have to be 0. That's the only way for 3x to equal 0. All right, now look at this. This is ugly. What if it was 2x times x minus 4 equals 0, then 2x must equal 0, or x minus 4 must equal 0, or both. It's, remember what I said, it can be ugly, but if it's something times something equals 0, then this simple concept here still applies. Please don't pack up just yet. Hold on. What?
How would that x in the parentheses be 0? Like,
Please don't pack up just yet.
How could that be 0?
Because this value here, this
Like that goes
times this is equal to 0. What's the only way to multiply two things and get 0? Is if one of them's 0.
Okay, one. Okay, no.
Yeah. Now, so look right here. So if x plus 4 times x plus 5 is 0, then what do you know? One of those parentheses has to be 0. So do we know which one it is though?
No.
No. So using the zero product property, you pull them out and you say, well then this crap has to be 0, and this crap has to be 0, and now you solve them individually. So x plus 4 equals 0, subtract the 4, what do you get? Come on, y'all. No, subtract the 4. You get x equals negative 4. What about here? X equals negative 5. Now, notice these are squigglies. So my solutions to this equation are negative 4 and negative 5. These are not parentheses, y'all. These are brackets, which means it's x equals. You know what I mean? What do you think on the next one?
Negative positive 3, negative
Positive 3 and negative 7. So x equals positive 3 or negative 7.